Greetings from St. Perpetual Community. The story is told about Harry Handcuff Houdini, the famous escape artist, illusionist, and stunt performer who died in 1926. His repertoire included being locked up in chains, tied in ropes slung from skyscrapers, straitjacketed underwater, and having to escape from and hold his breath inside a sealed milk can with water in it. Everywhere he went, Houdini issued a challenge. He would offer to be locked in any jail cell in the country and set himself free in short order. He was often taken up on his offer, but one time something went wrong. Houdini entered one jail cell in a particular city. The heavy metal doors clanged shut behind him. Taking from his belt a concealed piece of metal, strong and flexible, he set to work. Unlike previous experiences, something was unusual with this lock. Houdini worked for 30 minutes and got nowhere. An hour passed and still he hadn't opened the door. By now he was bathed in sweat and panting in exasperation, but still he couldn't pick the lock. Finally, after laboring for 2 hours, Houdini collapsed in frustration and failure against the door he could not unlock. But when he fell against the door, it swung open. It had never been locked at all. But in his mind it was locked. And that was all it took to keep him from opening the door and walking out of the jail cell. Do you feel a sense of imprisonment after the 6 month of COVID restrictions? I'd be surprised if anyone said they didn't. I know I often feel like that. So much of our freedom in everyday living has been curtailed, and the non-stop precautions we have to take can feel like a prison sentence, one that doesn't have an ending date in sight either. This really is a time for soul searching and soul finding, a time when we're challenged to discover what's most real about us and allow that to rise to the surface. The soul is that higher part of us that savors the present moment, neither hiding out in the past nor waiting impatiently for the future. It stays attentive to what's happening right here and now. The soul savors simplicity, love that's true, wonder that's childlike, humility that's homegrown. The soul is deep and doesn't enjoy skimming the surface. It locates treasures by getting to the bottom of things. The soul seeks out silence and solitude in order to hear the quiet voice of the divine presence. The soul gives thanks and counts blessings. It knows that we usually have more than we need or deserve. This challenging time we're experiencing can really be a hidden gift and an opportunity like no other to touch the essence of who we are and what's most real within us. The spiritual author and guide, Henry Nouwen, struggled with a sense of imprisonment that he tried to overcome when he wrote, "A little criticism makes me angry, and a little rejection makes me depressed. A little praise raises my spirits, and a little success excites me. It takes very little to raise me up or thrust me down. Often I'm like a small boat on the ocean, completely at the mercy of its waves. All the time and energy I spend in keeping some kind of balance and preventing myself from being tipped over and drowning shows my life is mostly a struggle for survival. Not a holy struggle, but an anxious struggle resulting from the mistaken idea that it is the world that defines me." Let's not allow a pandemic to define our humanity or imprison our soul. Houdini's struggle to escape a cell that wasn't locked in the first place doesn't have to be our struggle. Push against that door and let it swing open for you. You've got a soul that's longing to be set free.